Alright guys, today's video is boron for chestnuts. So I'm doing my annual treatment on these once again. And this time I'm going to do one from start to finish in better detail for you all to see exactly how much I am putting out. So again, this will vary by tree size in most cases, unless it's like a resprout. I'm going to treat it like a full-size tree. But if it's a tree that you have planted, you know, that dead area right there, plenty big enough space for something that's freshly planted. But in case like trees like this, which you're looking at one that is 14 feet or a little higher in height, root system's going to be really large compared to a freshly planted tree. So keep an eye on how many handfuls I use, and I'll show you how much I grab to broadcast with. Also notice the time of year I'm doing this: swollen tree buds. I typically don't want to wait till it leaves out. I want to see swollen tree buds. This one here is a good example. They're literally about to break out of there any day now. So that's the perfect time to fertilize. Anybody wanting to do regular fertilizing methods. Also on the advanced fertilizing, I don't have it with me because I've been a little behind with some of these doctor's appointments, but I wanted to do trace mineral fertilizing for chestnut trees. Same concept with the food plot. I'm trying to build a stronger tree and deliver more nutritious nuts. So if I'm low in manganese, copper, or zinc, those nuts are not going to be as good if I don't give them what they need. So it'll help increase the size of the nuts these trees produce and really pack on more nutrition. So let's get started here. So I'm kind of carefully trying not to get overzealous here. But there's one I'm starting with. So let's see how far we get. So I'm going to start, and you can choose to do whatever method you want. If you want to start from the outside in, that's fine. I'm going to go inside out. So I'm basically lightly spreading this around the tree. I want to go all the way around. All right, so basically I have, just by doing that light amount, 360 degrees, I have encompassed about a 10-foot radius at the most. So now these roots go well beyond the edges of the limbs. So I'm going to come out here on the outside, and we're going to keep fanning around. And when I'm throwing these spreads in front of the camera, it's about a 4-foot spread. Maybe 4.5-foot spread as far as the amount or width that it's coming out of my hand. All right, so here we are again. Careful. Now, it's harder to kill bigger trees, but I don't want to kill the surrounding plants, so I have to be balanced when I do this. I've not seen trees die from boron poisoning, and I can't tell you the exact amount it would take to do that with. But I'm picking up where I left off right here, and I'm encompassing another 4.5-foot area. If the wind's blowing really good, you know, it might favor this side 6 feet or more. So keep that in mind when you're doing boron treatment. Here we go again. And in all reality, this still keeps roughly my 3 pound per acre sow rate. All right, that is the end of this treatment. A little more right there. So my boron spread is roughly from right here to the base of that tree. That's about I would say 11 11 feet. No, hold on a second here. That is more like 9.5 to 10 feet maximum distance from this tree. You can go further. Don't let this limit here stop you. Matter of fact, watch this. I can even go over here. I might still be hitting roots easily. So if you want to use, you know, a tree this size, it's 14, maybe pushing 15 tall, and maybe about 12 and a half feet wide at its widest. If you want to do a circumference or a distance from this tree of, say, 20 feet, go for it. So if I double my distance somewhere right in here, because right here's my next tree, so it's about 20 feet, you could literally put boron over this whole area from tree to tree and be in fantastic shape. Or you can do it just like I showed here, and we're going to stop about 10 feet from the width or the base of this tree. So that was what, 3-4 handfuls, not complete full. Remember, I'm only cupping it in a small area. I'm not doing a big wad or a big fist. So that would be, if you did like a hardcore fistful, that'd be about 1.5, 1 3/4 max. But that's how I'm treating the boron on these trees. And let's do it again on this one over here. These trees are the same age, but we have a tree that is growing very differently. It's not really aggressive on the straight up end. It's that Chinese characteristic. So this tree is approximately 13 feet wide, maybe 12 at the smallest, and it's almost all the same size all the way up. There's like no true leader in that tree. So I'm looking at another 14 or 15 feet right there easily. Just a different branch structure than this straighter growing tree. It kind of makes this tree look smaller, but they're all roughly the same size. It's just this one likes to grow this way a little bit more. So I'm still going to give it the same treatment. So here we go again. See how it's not like a complete fistful. I can ball this up and it kind of comes off the sides of my hand just a little bit. So when I untuck it, that's what you got. It's just getting close to a true handful. Pretty close. All right, so we're going to start here at the middle. And the wind's blowing back toward my face. So keep that in mind when you're broadcasting. And I guarantee you all this grass right here will grow a lot better. So if you see really tall grass around these trees, it's not because I added some other fertilizer, at least not yet. All right, round 2. And the reason I'm not, it's easier to just probably take the bucket with you, but the reason I'm not overdoing it here is when I'm walking, I don't want to trail this spilling out over the same area. I could actually kill plants. So we're going to go back here. Same thing again. I'm actually coating a little wider here. This throw that I'm doing is about 5 feet throw, 6 feet throw. I've done it for so long, just I've gotten used to it. That's a good amount right there. Again, I am keeping pace with my 3 pounds per acre rate. It is very, very close to the 3 pound rate here. So now we're expanding the next wave around. Again, whatever method you're comfortable with. Just as long as you know you got good coverage, and the older the tree is, the further away the root base is going to get. So that's why I'm stepping out beyond the reach of this tree. So literally I just threw some all the way to right here. All right, so I'm a good 11 or 12 feet away right there, easy. A little further than this one. That tree right there is actually a slightly bigger tree. So the roots could be growing better, just whatever you want. I know when it comes to regular fertilizer, you can measure the girth of the tree and you can get a ratio on how much to feed it, but I'm not doing that. To me, that's just being precise, and I don't have to be precise here. I am used to doing this so much now, it's ridiculous. So by now, with the way I've come up here, and that takes care of the farthest end there, there's probably about a 5, oops, sorry about hitting the camera. There's about a 5-foot gap here, maybe 6 at the most, where there's no boron. Now, if it rains hard, that might push some boron down into there more because it's very light. And if it comes a real heavy downpour, which I don't like, it can flush it down the ditch. So if it's rain that's in the forecast, I like that slow, steady rain when it comes to applying boron. And you can see right here, that is boron shortage. Once again, just another demonstration. If you was to eat this, that has got the nutritional value of cardboard. That's how bad boron can really mess with your nutrition levels. If it's not adequate, you're giving deer cardboard. All right, let's do a follow-up here on the trimming. And I took the bush hog, cleaned out the briars, the closest I could get it without wanting to hit the tree. So now I'm going to take the trimmers, come in here and cut these off and get rid of them. Yes, I know deer will eat briars, but I have plenty of briars all along that wood line up there, and I'd rather be able to get to these trees to work on them. The next step is where these trees have rotted down. I'm going to take the chainsaw and cut that rotted piece back even more. I've kind of chopped up some of the material here I cut off, making a little bit of mulch here, trying to help with the nutrient level in this soil, which is not very good. And you can see what Ambrosia did to this tree. It inserts a fungus and kills the tree. So these black marks are bore holes. That's where it bored in right there and inserted a fungus and killed this tree. And it actually increases the rot factor really quickly in these chestnuts when you get that fungus in there. So keep that in mind. I'm going to take this up to the island and burn this piece. I don't want that hanging around. So the goal here is the follow-up to picking a good leader. So now that everything's cleaned off, you can see my 1A, 1B. This one is the one I want to keep in the overall future. But if something happens to it or it cankers up really bad, then maybe this piece here won't do it. Sometimes you get lucky and it doesn't, but you still can get blight even though these are blight resistant. And anywhere I have cut, this is one of the reasons I don't cut like literally right down the crack right here. You don't want to cut them like that. I want to give space here because there's actually fungus or blight that enters this cut every time. It'll go so far back and stop because these trees are resistant. But if that had been a pure American, that tree would have been toast. That's why it's really hard to grow Americans. After the bark starts splitting with age, it's over for those trees. So 45, 50 feet is generally about as big as they get before they end up dying off again. And there are a select few that have still survived. So don't get me wrong, it's still possible, but very low. So there's my cleanup for that one. Same thing down here. All right. A lot of pieces I cut off. Only 2 remain. So 1A, 1B. And if this one here really grows well, this becomes 1B, this one becomes 1A. Whichever one of these projects to be the sturdiest is the one I'll keep. And then chainsaw, we're going to cut that off and get rid of this tree. So that's the follow-up to the chestnuts. And again, if you have your fertilizer and you see these buds are swelling, hit those trees with fertilizer. If you only hit it with a 10 dose, I'm not recommending just, hey, go stronger. I don't know what your soil problems are, but sometimes if you add fertilizer and you don't see a change in the tree, you probably didn't use enough. That's kind of a guideline that I would watch for. So if you use a 13 and only do a cup full and you don't see a difference in your tree, you might want to treat it again. I used to, when these trees were getting established, I was putting out fertilizer either light to heavy, depending on the situation, every 6 to 8 weeks. So I would do another light coating of fertilizer at 6 weeks, and then 8 weeks, depending on the situation I saw, I would hit a heavy dose. If I saw the tree was not improved within that 2-week time frame, I hit it again. And then the tree started taking off and growing a lot better, I stopped. And then I waited 8 weeks and treated it again. But you don't want to keep treating these when fall time rolls around. If that tree's still growing and it's October, you might run into a problem. Frostbite could be a serious issue. Another time to fertilize is wait until you see what your nut crop's going to be. Once this tree produces all the catkins it's going to produce and the female flowers, that tree's done with production. You're not going to pick up new production by keeping growth on the tree. So it's okay at that point to push the tree to grow again. And it won't have any flowers with it. It'll just be additional growth. If you're looking for that bump in size, trying to shave off some time or increase nut production again for next year, 2 or 3 times what you got now. So that's one trick that I've done. There's multiple ways to tackle this, and I hope this video helps you. Again, when the tree buds swell, right, they have literally turned green, they are about to leaf out, that is the perfect time to get this done. So I'm going to stop the video here and continue on with the boron treatment. This tree I'm concerned about this year, so put that in your mind somewhere. The growth is really slowing down hard on this tree. I think this tree might be dying. I'm going to really hit this tree hard with fertilizer. I did it once and it grew 2 feet. That tree has never grown very quickly at all. I think the most it ever grew was 4 feet, and that's because the top got cut off by a bird landing on the top and snapping it because it had 6 burrs on it. And then it came back with a vengeance, and then it just slowly tapered off over time. So I'm very concerned that tree may have some sort of root problem, and unfortunately that's my top producer. And from the looks of that growth right there from last year, 6 inches is average. That's really poor for a tree that big. That should be like 3 or 4 feet or more. So I'm going to really try to focus on hammering a lot of fertilizer right here. So I may use this as an experiment for those of you that are curious. Why not? Let's do it. That'll be an experiment. I'm going to really load it up and let's see if this tree snaps out of it. If it does, there's probably a root problem in there, or that ground has some other issues that we just can't see. Could be a ton of rocks, I don't know. Highly likely, because I think every tree we put in here had some rock in it or something. So hang on with this one. We'll see how this does. I want to try to save it and get these others fertilized. I probably will use my 500-pound hopper this year, and instead of hand broadcasting it, that way I can save a lot of time. It's a whole lot faster, and when I'm ready to do the plot this year, that too will be faster when I do an additional method this year. So I hope you enjoy the video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and more to come on the chestnuts. Have a good day.